So could this rookie card of a young rising star be the next $100,000 card? Well, let's highlight this latest exclusive release and you guys can be the judge of that. What's going on, guys? Matt here, back again with another video. So the sport of tennis has reached a very interesting point at this current time, with tennis superstars like Roger Federer and Serena Williams nearing retirement, and you've got the other greats like Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic who are still kicking along quite strongly. Really, as fans, we've been very blessed to have this much stardom all at the same time, and weirdly enough, we haven't seen that next young player who could potentially bridge the gap when these players do retire in the future. So enter young Spanish rising star Carlos Alcaraz. Now take this with a grain of salt because I am reading this directly off NetPro's website. But so far in his young career, Alcaraz has 5 ATP singles at the age of 19. He's the second youngest ATP top 5 ranking since Rafael Nadal in 2005. Alcaraz is the third youngest ATP Masters 1000 champion in history. He's also the youngest ATP 500 champion of the Rio and Barcelona Open, the youngest ATP 1000 champion of the Miami and Madrid Open, the youngest quarterfinalist at any Grand Slam since 1990, and he's also the only player to beat Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic in the same clay court event. Now, Alcaraz has not won a Grand Slam yet, but his best finish so far has been the quarterfinals of the French Open this year, as well as the US Open in 2021. But it's still a very impressive resume considering that Alcaraz is only 19 years old. I'm a little bit late to the news with this, but NetPro have decided to partner up with Alcaraz in helping him release his first ever exclusive licensed rookie card. Now, it's the first release of a series which will feature some other young players in the future. NetPro have pumped up Alcaraz on their website, even saying, quote, "We have not seen a player of this caliber come through the rankings in a very long time." Now, if you're not familiar with tennis cards, NetPro is the premier brand when it comes to tennis cards, dating back to 1991 with their first ever release, and moving on to its most recognizable release in 2003, which featured the rookie cards of tennis goats in Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, and Serena Williams. One of my first ever videos on my YouTube channel was actually highlighting how I thought that tennis cards were undervalued at that point, and although that period has come and gone, I still think there's a place in the hobby long term for the goats. Anyway, moving back to Alcaraz's rookie cards and the main reason for me making this video. So NetPro have done something very different for this release in selling the card itself directly on their website rather than the usual method of ripping open a box hoping you do pull the card. It's something very unique, and you can even scroll through NetPro's website and see which cards are still available as it's already been released. One thing that I like that NetPro has done with this release is limit the amount of cards that they print for Alcaraz, varying from 2,000 for its highest print run down to 50 for its rarest card. They've even admitted that they've noticed the coin industry and how it holds up long term with rarity, so they've tried to maintain that with this release. Now, as you guys can see, there are different designs, and if you have a good eye, you can probably spot a few things already. So they've done a 2003 retro design with some of his base cards numbered to 500, as well as the iconic International Series dual jersey auto card, which is only numbered to 50. The retro base cards numbered to 500 go for $100 each and have already sold out, along with the jersey auto card, which went for an astounding $3,600. Now you might be thinking, that is an insane price for someone who hasn't won a Grand Slam yet, and I'd have to agree with you guys there. But you also have to remember that the amount of influence hype has when it comes to the sports card hobby, and people paying for future potential rather than current performance. I think it's quite interesting that NetPro have pumped this up themselves, saying you could purchase Federer's same jersey auto card 15 years ago for $3,000, and now it goes for over $100,000. They've even highlighted the Serena Williams same version going for less than $1,000 upon initial release, and now at its highest sale point going for $266,000. And honestly, when you read through this, it feels like you're signing up for one of those get-rich-quick schemes, but I think it's quite smart that they've included this on the listing. So going through the new designs NetPro has done, it seems that they've taken influence from other card companies with their sets, and credit to Slabstox for these images, but as you can see, this design here, it directly replicates the 2020 Bowman Baseball Chrome Prospect Autos. Another variation of his autograph cards seems like it takes a leaf out of Panini's book in copying the Immaculate RPA from 2012, and at the time of recording, the US Open is currently starting, and I do expect some more sales of this card if Alcaraz can impress and go far into the tournament. Just imagine if he wins his first ever Grand Slam. I honestly expect that each card that is still available to sell out, so it'll be very interesting to watch his journey during the tournament. The prices are quite ridiculous when you look at it externally, but the potential for growth is there if he does live up to those massive expectations, and you just have to do a Google search to see how many people expect him to be the next tennis great. I think it would be great to do a price comparison with the exact cards between the greats to see what his potential ceiling might be, so let's highlight that now. The base card for Alcaraz is numbered to 2,000 and is still available at $42 on the NetPro website, and as you can can see on the right, you can see what the other three greats go for when they're graded. Federer in the PSA 9 goes to $220, Nadal goes to $380, and then for Serena in a PSA 8, it goes to $228. Moving on to the variant, number to 500. This one sold out for Alcaraz and it went for $100. For Federer Raw, it went for $500. For Nadal in a PSA 7, it went for $800. And then for Serena Williams, it went for $500 Raw. Now let's move on to the big boy card here, which is the Jersey Auto out of 50. This one on release went for $3,600 and is sold out. Federer's one is a little bit more short printed out of 25, and this at a high point went for $186,000. And lastly, Serena's one also numbers to 25, had a high sale of $266,000. Keep in mind, he still has autographs available for sale, but not of the retro variation. But obviously, I could not compare them as the other players don't have their own versions. As I said, it seems like NetPro have this same release ready for other tennis players, and if we're going by young stars, I think they're going to include players like Coco Gauff and Alex Zverev. I do think the prices of those players will be a little bit lower than Alcaraz thanks to his hype. In saying so, I think the Alcaraz release will be the biggest from this young crop of stars, so unless you're betting big on the others or no and under the radar player, I'd be mainly focusing on Carlos. Now, one thing I would be very weary of is the potential release of Topps Chrome Tennis later in the year. If there is an Alcaraz auto included in the product, I think this will drive down the prices of his NetPro autos down, along with his other cards. In terms of my plans moving forward with him, I will probably get the base card numbers of 2,000 for $42 and hold it for my own collection. Unfortunately, I don't know too much about tennis for me to make such a big investment on his autos, but I think it's a very interesting play. I've tried to gather as much information as I can about this topic, but if you know anything about Alcaraz and his cards that I haven't spoken about today, please comment it down below. As always, hit the like and subscribe button down below, and I'll see you guys all in future videos. Take care.